Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Seahawk Talk here on the Salve Athletics Network. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli, coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. Through Twitter, we are live every single day, 3 to 4 p.m. on those platforms. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to never miss a show. We've got a great one lined up for you here today. We'll be joined by special guests Sean Foster, David Lund, and then the assistant coaches from our women's basketball team, Tony Soley and Liv Pierce. Can't wait to talk to them and to our producers. But first, like always, we want to remind you to keep your distance. That is Ed Habershaw with his rendition of Keep Your Distance from the Shake, a Rhode Island-based band with a message that we can apply worldwide. Social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing, we've heard all about it, and we're going to continue to remind our listening audience and everyone at large to do those simple and easy things. I want to bring in the producers, or producer at the moment, Mike DeFusco, into the program. Mike, how are we doing?
Doing well today. Trying to just get a handle on everything here.
Sounds good. What stories do we have to lead off today's program? I think you had something about some Santa Claus news that we wanted to bring up.
So for all you kids looking to write a letter to Santa Claus, here's how you can do that. So the USPS, understanding that this year with COVID and everything, more kids will probably not get as many gifts or just have to go without gifts due to their parents, not being able to, afford it with everything that's going on. So they're stepping up and they're offering this. So the idea is that you mail a letter or if you're the kid, you mail a letter and then someone can adopt that and get the gift for you and then they send it to you. So it's kind of like you are sending it to Santa somewhere out there. And here are kind of the steps on how you can do it. So any family with a child who wants to write Santa, use this official post and it has it right there. Then you write your full name, return address, all that, get the stamp on. The letters go up on the USPS website, their Operation Santa website, and then you drop the letter to your nearest post office. And here are some that are around here in Newport. And then once you do that, and you should get them in by December 15th, hopefully someone will adopt them and then send you a present back. So pretty cool that they're doing this. I think it's really helpful. Awesome. It takes everything into account that's going on right now.
What is their definition of child?
That's why I was hoping that they expanded a bit, but I'm pretty sure they're going to say under 18. I don't think it specifies exactly.
Oh, that's pretty under. That's even older than I thought.
Maybe we'll say, how about under 16? Well, that's technically because that's the minor cutoff. Because you're a minor if you're under 18. So technically, I guess you could because you are a kid. But you might be a little old. Maybe
like after the age of 15, they make you have to like prove your faith to Santa. you have to show your loyalty. You have to prove somehow.
I actually believe this still. Like, this isn't a joke.
You need to, you dress up like Will Ferrell and Elf. Like, oh my God, Santa!
Santa's coming to town. So if there's any Santa lovers out there, any diehard Santa fans who still believe out there, show them this, or you yourself, if you're a diehard Santa fan, go do this yourself.
This is awesome though. I mean, like we've talked about, there's so much bad news, sad news, so many. We hear all the terrible things going on, but then there's been so much stuff like this. That is just spectacular and awesome. Like, hey, kids, mail your letters to Santa, and then somebody is gonna, I'm sure within reason. I'm sure they'll be able to ferret out the ones who are like, Timmy wants a Ferrari. I don't think anybody's gonna do. I don't think anybody's gonna do that. But
I think mom takes the card and writes the letter for the kid.
Yeah, but I think that's just so cool. So cool. Another thing that is really cool. So, these are gifts for children. Well, let's talk about the season of giving for adults. We've talked a lot about real estate on this show, and some of the, Joey will bring up, oh, this mansion's for sale. If we could all cobble together, like $15-16 million, we'd be good. Well, HGTV, they do their Dream House series. So they construct a house or they remake a house, and then you can enter a contest to try and win that house. Well, they've unveiled this year's Dream House, and it is right here on Aquidneck Island in Portsmouth. This house is unbelievable. So we'll scroll down first. That's like the exterior of the house. Built by Middletown-based JPS Construction and Design. And so we'll scroll through some of these pictures of this dream house. It's just, first, the outdoor grill kitchen setup, pool house area with fireplace. This is the inside. Just mind-numbingly amazing. This is, and anybody can enter. So you just starting. I'll get to the specifics. We'll keep scrolling through some of these pictures just to see how gorgeous this house is. I love the spiral staircase. That's
amazing
at the top.
That's just bathroom. You gotta get a bunch of people together to chip in someday.
Well, the thing is, to ever own a house like this, yes. But hopefully, I've been looking to get a house. I would love a house like this. The only way I'm gonna get a house like this is if I win it in a contest. So the official entry period for the Dream House starts on Monday, December 28th at 9 a.m. until Wednesday, February 17th at 5 p.m. Eligible fans can enter for a chance to win twice per day at hdtv.com. That's where you get all the official details and rules. On January 1st at 8, there will be a 1-hour HGTV Dream Home 2021 special with a special pre-premiere available on HGTV Go. On the 20th of December, viewers will have the opportunity to go behind the scenes with the hosts Tiffany Brooks and Flynn as they give an inside look at the home's build and design process. Starting on the 28th, enter twice a day to try and win. I know I'm going to do it because Santa Claus ain't giving me this house, so I'm gonna roll the dice and hope that I get lucky.
That is not eligible to ask for in the Santa mail-in thing, the USPS Operation Santa. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to enter this as well. That's about the only way I've come to accept getting a house like that. That is gorgeous. I can't. I wonder how much did it say? How much that would sell for?
I think it does somewhere. Oh, this is the other thing, too. So one lucky contestant will win the 3,300 square foot residence that comes fully furnished. So everything you see here is what you get. Along with $250,000 from Rocket Mortgage. So you can get the house and money on top of it. And a 2021 motorhome from Camping World. The grand prize package is valued at more than $2.8 million. I'm not sure what the exact cost of the house is. But I'm going to estimate, so you already get $250,000 of a mortgage. The motorhome, I'm going to guess, is probably, let's just say it's $250,000 as well. So that's $500,000. This house is probably like $2 million, probably for the house.
At least, yeah, at least $2 million. That is crazy. I can't even imagine how to go through getting it. So I think right now we need to pull this off before anyone else sees, so we can just keep it for ourselves, honestly.
Yeah,
why do we show now more?
Yeah, you're sure, right? Yeah, hi there. So never mind. Actually, the contest is closed. You can no longer enter.
No, that's an old story. Actually, that was in the archive file. Way past date.
What would be your dream house, Mike? If you could envision a dream house, do you have a vision of a dream house? Is it that? Besides that one?
The only specification I can really think of, it has to be on water. Or maybe something, how they have those beachside cottages where you literally walk out onto the beach. That's to me is one of the coolest things. They kind of have that over at Castle Hill, but I believe it's $1,000 a night to stay there. So again, yeah, that'll add up. So that's definitely out of my price range, but that's the kind of house, my dream home, I think. A nice beachfront, walk right out, and that's your porch. No porch, just the beach is your porch.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, we will all be entering in this contest.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, Mike, I'm going to let you go to start producing the program behind the scenes, and I'll catch up with you and maybe Joey at the end of the program.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you then.
All right, that's Mike DeFusco, one of the producers here on Seahawk Talk. We're going now to our first guest here on a Friday, the head coach of our men's basketball team, Sean Foster. Sean, how you doing?
Andrew, how are you? Doing very well, thanks.
Good. I'll start first with how was your Thanksgiving? How was the holiday with the family and everything like that?
Very low key. It was good. Newport's a great place to be around any holiday, but certainly Thanksgiving we just stayed with the immediate family to stay safe, and it was a good time with the kids. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope it was as well.
Yeah, again, low key, a typical Italian that I am. I actually, even though I was only cooking for 2 people, I probably cooked for about 10. I made way too much food, but I had leftovers for days, so it all was eaten at some point. So it was good. Kind of the work doesn't stop, even though practice has stopped for you guys, and there'll be a bit of a layoff for the coaching staff. Work goes on. You guys are probably heavy into recruiting now as well. How is that process going?
Definitely. We did have a good amount of early applications. It's roster formation this year is going into the future is a little bit more tricky. We have the benefit of very fortunate. We have the benefit of having some guys in the 5-year program. So I expect most of our roster will remain. So we're excited about that, and really just need to add a couple of pieces. We do have one verbal commitment at this point, which was a great get for us. I know I'm not allowed to talk about it, or the deposit's not in, but our future looks bright, and we're just waiting on a few other guys with their acceptances and to make some decisions going forward. But it's going very well.
Yeah. What's the first thing you look for in a recruit?
Motor. We need guys that play extremely hard and will play hard a full game. And we look for character, of course, and dig down deep into the academics and how they treat teammates, even to how they treat family when they're on their visit. We have a bunch of good kids, and we have a great environment, really good culture, and adding to that, we need to add the same type of kids. So that's extremely important for us. But from a evaluation standpoint, we're really going to look for guys that play hard. And we may need to polish up some of their skills, but if they have the motor and they have the drive, then everything else will fall into place.
How much harder has it been to scout and recruit and evaluate some of those intangible things without the ability to be physically at a game and maybe see things that a camera doesn't catch?
Just talking to some coaches about that this morning. Extremely difficult when you're getting some highlight films that may be shorter, at the beginning of the evaluation process. But what you're really looking for is just enough to pique your interest and then to hopefully see them live. We were able to evaluate a good deal in the summer, which was really helpful. But going forward, even, looking at juniors and everything, we're hoping that the high school seasons go on so that we have an opportunity to see those kids live, because it is, it's so much easier to do when you can see them, play and play in their high school environment, especially in a system, with roles that they have to compete in. And then, it's easier to envision what they could do in the future that way.
I've had some other coaches tell me because everybody's kind of stuck in place, they've had alumni get in touch with them and say, hey, I know you can't come out to New York, but I'm living here, and hey, there's this league that's going on, and I saw this kid. You might be interested. Have you had any instances of that yet, where maybe former players have kind of been scouting and helping you out with that process?
Always, and those guys are the best. And one of our commitment this year, actually, we had known about him, but we had an alum evaluate as well. So yes, that happens all the time, and that's the good thing about having a few different roles here over the years, from playing to being an assistant to being a head coach. I can have a wide alumni base, and they're definitely in touch, and remain special people in my life. So I'm in touch with the alums a lot, and anytime they see a kid that thinks can be a future Seahawk, I take their opinion, over anybody's, because they know, they've been through it and they know how to do it.
Yeah. What was your recruitment process like? What stands out to you? What do you remember most?
As far as coming here?
Yeah.
Well, originally I had gone to an NAIA Division II school, so I had transferred in. So I kind of initiated the process. So my recruitment was more me looking for places, a place to transfer to, and the big thing that stands out after connecting with my coach, Coach Rafa, and it was just seeing the campus. I mean, when I came to campus and walked around, it was pretty much done. This is the place that I wanted to be. and I was going to do anything I could to, take out the loans and do what I had to do to be here. Fell in love with the place right away. So very, very fortunate to have a good experience and be around some great people in college and, within the program as well.
Yeah. So you mentioned player, assistant coach, now head coach. How has the CCC changed from your playing days to now?
Well, it's changed a ton. I mean, I think the biggest change is that all the coaches were part-time at that point. And now we're just about all full-time in doing certainly other duties. But the teams have changed a little bit. It's gone from one size to gotten bigger. We went to 14 at one point, and then we came back down to 10. We had North and South at one point. So there's been a lot of different changes in the league. But some of the main teams and the programs with good history have remained the same. And, certainly the conferences, I feel like it gets more competitive every year. I mean, the teams just keep getting better and better.
Yeah. How has the game of basketball changed from your playing days to now?
Not as much as you would think. I mean, I think the way it's officiated has changed a little bit. I hate to be that, old guy, but, it was a little bit more physical when I was playing. Now they call a little bit more. There's 3 officials instead of 2, which has changed it a little bit. Some of the rules, certainly the 3-point line going back. And then for us, it will go back to the international line next year. So it's going back even further. That's a big change from, when I played and the line was 19-9. So there's little changes here and there, but certainly I think back over the years, some of the guys I've coached and the, guys who are successful, when I started doing this, if they were here now, they'd still be successful. So, the players, it's all about opportunity, and the more experience and opportunity they get, you see them grow and get better. And that's the whole thing here in a 4-year period. Can you leave here a better person, a better student, and a better player? And that's our goal.
You mentioned the 3-point line going back. How much does that impact, that kind of to circle back to the recruiting thing, how much does it impact when you're evaluating shooters in high school? Obviously that's coming down the road. Does that factor in at all? You just think they have to adjust to the combine anyway. What's an extra foot once they get here?
Yeah, no, I think it impacts a little bit. It's really hard to see unless you've got guys taking some really deep ones. But it's if you can shoot it, you can teach yourself to shoot it well from the further line. I think where it will impact, not so much with recruiting, I think it will impact with defenses. I think it's going to actually have the opposite impact as the NCAA wants. I mean, they want the lane to be spread. They want less contact, all of that. What I see happening is, not all 5 guys on an opposing team being able to shoot it equally. So I think with it going back, you can play off some guys and you can actually clog the lane a little bit. So I think at the Division III level, it may have the opposite effect that the NCAA is looking for. So I was a proponent of kind of keeping the line where it is, but we'll see how everything works out. But people adapt too. You think about some of the shooters on our team. I mean, Mikey Spencer is a phenomenal shooter. It's not going to affect him that much. He's going to be able to make that new 3-pointer just the same as he does the old one, and he's already working from there to try to extend his range. So I think the players will adapt to whatever challenges you put in front of them.
Yeah. This past week, the athletics department wrapped up their Seahawks Take Flight campaign, major fundraising effort for all of our teams. Talk about how that went. How did the fundraising go? And, with the money that you raised, what improvements you'll hope to make with the men's basketball program? Yeah,
I think overall with the athletic department, it went tremendous. And it seems like it's still going on a little bit. The department as a whole, all the student athletes did a great job of getting that out. And we raised a ton of money, which, as you know, is extremely helpful to budgets. With us, I always tell our guys, whatever they raise will go back to them. So we really try to get them involved, and especially our seniors and upperclassmen in deciding, how we spend any money that we raise. So, normally it's gear and sneakers or things like that, jackets or anything that they may in a particular year want. So we'll throw that back on them and see what they need this year.
Last question, Sean. Some of the there's been some scuttlebutt around the NHL and the NBA. They want to play games inside. There's also the potential that games could be moved outside. I think more so with NHL, but I know it's been talked about at the NBA because they want to try and have fans and outdoors better. Can you envision outdoor basketball like actually happening and being a thing? Has there been any considerations of that for you guys? I mean, New England outside in January, February, I don't think is quite feasible. But can you envision that at all? Is it such a different sport at that point?
I don't envision that. I don't think at the college level or the pro level that would really go. Our guys certainly still play outside. They played outside all summer when they couldn't get into gyms, and I certainly grew up, shoveling the driveway to get my shots up. So, from an old school perspective, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening. I have seen the NHL be thinking about that a little bit, which I think would be tremendous. Anytime Fenway has the ice up, it's pretty cool. And growing up in Foxborough, I'd love to see a rink get thrown up there and see the Patriots Stadium be used as an outdoor hockey rink. Kind of getting back to the roots of the game. But I think it would work much better for hockey than basketball.
Yeah. Guys always usually claim, when they miss airball a shot in a gym, no, there's a draft somewhere. There's a draft. Well, this time there actually would legitimately be wind.
Yeah, like you said, Newport with the wind. That probably wouldn't be a good idea here.
Yeah, I can't even imagine a game. Imagine a game at the courts at Gaudet.
Yeah. They guys were there all summer, so I know they played there. Right now, not so much.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Sean, good to see you. Glad you had a happy Thanksgiving, and look forward to catching up with you again more next week.
You as well. Thanks so much.
All right, take it easy now. That's Sean Foster, the head coach of our men's basketball team. We're going to take a short break and hopefully be back with David Lunn of our women's ice hockey team. Don't go anywhere.
So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
We have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back when you can follow them.
You gotta take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We're going to go now to an assistant coach with our women's basketball team, Tony Soley. Tony, welcome to the show.
Hey,
How are you doing?
Good, Pez. How are you?
Good. It is year 4, 5 for you now with the women's basketball team?
Season 4. I came in with Brooke and Mary.
So how fast has that gone by, and what originally brought you to Salve?
It's actually flown by. It's been pretty awesome. What brought me to Salve, honestly, it was chance. I had been looking to progress in my career, and Corey had an opening, and I applied. And some people think I'm a little crazy. I live clear across the state from Salve. I don't think you can get much further away. So I make that commute daily, but there's no place I'd rather be. I mean, I'm having a blast in year 4. Year 4 is not exactly what I expected year 4 to be, nor do I think it's anything anyone else expected it to be. But yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah. What got you originally into coaching? Did you know all along, hey, someday I'm going to get into coaching, or was it something you kind of discovered after the fact?
It's funny. I got into coaching by chance when I was young, probably 18, probably about 20. It was a couple of years after I got out of high school. A friend of mine had a coaching job open up, and he said, would you like to coach? And it was at the high school level. It was a JV position. And I honestly had no business coaching at that time. I really didn't. But it kind of was the bug, right? It kind of bit me, and I started coaching at different youth levels. And then I started my family and stepped away from it. And when I got back into it, because my daughter wanted to play. She was young. She was about 3 years old. And, I started teaching her how to play. And then next thing you know, you kind of walk back into that gym like you never left. And, I decided that I actually wanted to pursue my coaching career. And, I started climbing back up the ranks. When I was younger, in my 20s, I had coached at the varsity level, junior high and scholastic, AAU, club ball, stuff like that. And then, like I said, the opportunity to come into Salve showed up. And, here we are 20-something years later, and I'm at Salve.
Yeah. What have been the biggest resources for you to grow as a coach during that time?
Honestly, it's mentors. It's funny when I interviewed for the position at Salve. I realized myself and Corey were quite a lot alike, but she brings a different dynamic. We joke around that she's bad cop, I'm good cop, but we are a lot alike. So, what I found is that everyone I've ever worked with or for, you can learn something from. Even, Sean over on the men's side, just sitting in the office and chatting and talking stuff over. I think that's the biggest thing I take away from it is, just keeping your ears open, you can learn so much more, and you can have a different look on things. Corey and I have sat in the office many nights, and we've discussed, things and been like, all right, that makes sense, especially like just nuances of the game.
You mentioned they're talking with other coaches. There's so many things that, even though there might be small differences between sports, between men and women, there are those that kind of transcend all sports that are just kind of, universal truths, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's just it. I think a lot of it is player interaction. I think one of the things when we start talking about coaching, when I was a young coach, it was go, 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 win, win, win. And I was offended if I didn't win or upset if I didn't win. And trust me, I love to win as much as the next guy. But honestly, at this point in my career, it's more important for me to see student athletes grow as people, cross that stage with a diploma, start a future. And if they're having fun playing basketball while they're doing so, awesome. And if I'm part of that, even better.
Yeah. How great is it when you can get former players to maybe get into coaching in your coaching staff? Like, say one, Liv Pierce. Welcome to the show. Liv, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I want to ask you. Say again.
I said sorry for the late entrance. I was coming from school, so.
It's all good. How would you assess your first season here, being a coach with your former team? How's your perspective changed on being a player to now being a coach?
Definitely different. It's actually really cool being on the other side of it, getting to obviously work with Tony in a different way than just player-coach relationship. Same with Coach Hughes. It's so interesting, especially more specifically with the recruiting process. So I kind of get an inside look on how that works. They're sort of leading me into it, easing me into it, I should say. I actually met with a recruit yesterday. We had like a Zoom. So definitely different talking to a recruit where I used to be a player and now I'm a coach, trying to sell Salve, which isn't hard to do, but definitely different perspective, but in a good way.
Does it weird you out when people call you Miss Pierce or Coach Pierce?
Yeah. It's also weird when people who I've played with, like Mary Rourke or Brooke, for instance, call me coach. Usually it's Liv, but sometimes they throw in a Coach P. It's different than just Liv or whatever else they used to address me when we were teammates.
Yeah. Tony, did you see the coaching potential in Liv as a player, and how excited were you to find out that she was joining the coaching staff?
Yeah, every year, since I've been at Salve, you always have those players that you connect with. I typically work with post players year over year. I work with all the players, but typically I work with the post. So Liv and I spent a lot of time while I was with her. And you could see she knew the game, she learned the game. It's funny because now that she's coaching it, she's looking at it completely different. The things that I would yell at her for, she's now yelling at everyone else for. So that's kind of comical in a way. But yeah, Liv always just had that leadership quality since I got to Salve. I got there her junior year, so I spent 2 years with Liv. And, some of the things that she brought to the locker room, she's bringing again. And, I think she adds a great dynamic. Like I said, Corey and I tend to play good cop, bad cop quite a bit. I think, honestly, Liv adds that different dynamic where she's close in age to them. She can relate to them on a more personal level than myself or Corey can. And she has that connection of being, like, when I played in the 80s and 90s, right? I was listening to Sean, and he said the game's not overly different, and it's not. Basketball is basketball. But I still can't put myself in their situations, in their shoes here in 2020 versus where I was in 1990.
Yeah, playing the post was a lot different.
Yeah, you could actually hit people.
How proud are both of you for the way this team has focused on their personal growth, giving back, working in the community during this semester, kind of to take advantage of the time to focus on those things instead of having games to focus on?
Yeah, I actually, at the beginning of the season, Coach talked with me about this a lot, saying how, especially because the season would look different with more practices, no games in the beginning half of the season, we want to try and do extra things to that we wouldn't normally have time to do, and also to kind of help out. I was talking to Coach. I know she mentioned it. I took part in the food drive a couple weeks ago over Thanksgiving, giving out meals to families who need it for the holidays. And since then, I've been trying to wrap my brain around different ways I can give back. And I was actually talking to Mary Rourke and Meg Hennigan the other day, trying to think of different ways I could kind of go about that come Christmas time. It's a little hard to sort of organize something myself because I don't really know where to start. Also, with COVID, it makes it difficult. But I've been thinking of things to do, such as like adopting a family for Christmas. So instead of doing gifts for me, taking that money, using it to go somewhere else. But the players have been talking about it too, which is cool because that's something I'm passionate about, especially around this time of year, especially in 2020 with everything that's happening. So it's cool to see them kind of wanting to give back and get out there in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, to piggyback on what Liv says, it really starts at the top. When I get to Salve, one thing I noticed is that Corey just really, you don't have to believe what she believes or love what she loves, but she really fosters the will in people to help and to take part in things. And that's one of the things that since I've been at Salve that I've loved is getting involved. We've done a lot of different things over my 4 years here, whether it's Toys for Tots, Coaches versus Cancer, stuff like that. So every team's uniquely different. Player personalities play a big role in that. But honestly, you see it with team in, team out 4 years now that, with everything going on in the world today, we're still focused on how we can help the community, how we can help each other, and how we can help the Salve community itself. We don't just worry about each other. We worry about everyone. And that's really my biggest takeaway being at Salve is we really believe in the team, really believes in what we the mission of the school.
Yeah. Tony, we've discussed bringing awareness and normalizing the discussion around mental illness a lot on this program. I know this is an extremely personal issue for you as well, so I'll just kind of let you have the floor and explain why bringing that awareness and normalizing that discussion is very important to you.
Yeah, so I've actually had to deal with, I hate calling them issues, but some of my own personal issues. When I was younger, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety disorders. And I've actually, over the years, dealt pretty well with them. I've probably about 3 times in my life, I've actually, had some issues where, I've considered honestly ending my life. And it actually happened this past June, on June 11th. And I was in a really bad spot personally. And honestly, that day there was only two text messages I answered. One was one of my children, and the other one was Corey's. And the reason why I talk about it now, I'm 44 years old, diagnosed when I was 14, and this is the most I've ever talked about it. And it was kind of that wake-up call I needed. People have asked me, COVID and your father passed away and all this other, these underlying issues have always been there. And there's that stigma around mental illness, and there's a stigma around, all right, it's a male, he's in a position of authority, he's a coach, he's a family guy, he has a business, so you have those stigmas, and you just kind of bottle it up and don't talk about it. And I never did. And this conversation is very easy. The hardest conversations I've had were with my own family after June 11th, and then with the team. Some of them had known I had been pretty vocal about what I went through between June and today. So when we got back and, the team kind of got settled, the day we did a suicide prevention walk, and just before that walk, I shared my story with the team. And, I offer it to anyone that wants to hear my story. I'll be more than happy to share it with them if it helps them. I'm not claiming to be an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I've been living with this for 30 years of my life. And every person's different. I didn't go to school for this. It's just something I live with. What I can tell you is that there's avenues out there. There's assets that you can utilize to get help that you need. And there's people you can talk to. Like I said, that day on June 11th, when I think back to it, I remember distinctly Corey had sent me a text message and, said, your family's worried about you. I'm worried about you. Please answer. And my answer to her, honestly, that day was a simple sentence. It said, I promise you I'm okay. And at that time I was. When she had texted me, I had actually been sitting in my therapist's parking lot. And I was there because I knew I had an appointment with him 8 o'clock Friday morning. So this was a Thursday night. So I knew if I was in that parking lot, I'd be safe. So I stayed in that parking lot most of that night. So when she texted me and I answered her, I was safe. But then, your mind starts racing and going. And luckily, I was found, and I went to do some inpatient therapy, and I did some outpatient therapy, and it is what it is. But I think that conversation needs to be open and had, and that's why I share the story now. I mean, if people want to know details, stuff like that, I have no problem sharing them. I just, there's some people I don't want to, for lack of a better term, trigger anyone.
Yeah.
But I have no problem discussing. It's more important to me to discuss things and maybe connect with somebody that may have even a fraction of a thought of doing self-harm. Like I said, everyone's situation is different. So I'm not going to claim to be an expert, and I'm not going to claim to even know how I can help you, but I can actually point you to resources that you may need and find available.
Yeah. And, thank you so much for bringing it up and being open and willing to talk about it, because the more people who do, it makes it normal, and it makes other people feel more comfortable to come out and talk about these things. And Liv, maybe from your perspective, I know from speaking with Corey and Tony, what's it like to have played for and now coach with two coaches who I know are incredibly passionate people and are open and honest and will have all these sorts of discussions and aren't afraid to have those discussions with players and colleagues? Oh, you're muted, Liv. It's all good.
And I'm a teacher too. I should know that. Come on. My goodness. I think it's awesome. Obviously, I love Coach. I've been with her for 4 years, and now I've known Tony for 4. But we have open conversations ourselves about everything, and just having that sort of personal connection. And again, with Tony sharing his story, I reached out to Tony in the summer, and we had a conversation as well. Just knowing that these conversations can be had and serious topics, whatever it may be, can be discussed. Actually helps to grow a stronger and closer bond with them, and also with the team. I just think it's huge to be able to have those open conversations, and again, that then allows that connection to grow even stronger. I mean, Coach and Tony are great. Us three are kind of like a little trifecta now, which is fun for me. But it definitely helps the team too, because then they get an inside look too. It's not just a wall between player coach. There's almost like an open door. So I think that helps in more ways than one.
Yeah. Liv, any luck in convincing Tony to bring the food truck down to practice yet?
Oh, my God. I tried, Andrew. Tony told us everything on the menu, and I was like, oh. So I told him, I go, you can park it in my driveway. I live downtown.
I'll tell you, some heart attack home fries sound really good. Tony, just quickly, tell us the story behind the food truck, because I think that's awesome, too.
Yeah, so kind of back to what we were talking about with mental health awareness and stuff like that. I decided that I'm packing it in, calling it a day on my 9-to-5 career. I was in engineering, and I walked away after 25 years in the industry, 21 years at the company I was at, and I bought myself a food truck, and we serve traditional and non-traditional breakfast items. And pretty much every day I walk into practice, Meg Hennigan asks me where the food truck is and why I didn't bring it to practice. So the hope is that I will have it down. I will have it down at practice when we all get back into some sense of normalcy. We don't. Myself, Liv, and Corey had talked about bringing it down before the kids broke. The issue is, obviously with COVID, we want to set a good example, and we didn't feel that we could safely social distance. And I think we could have if we concentrated, but I also didn't want to put us in that situation. So yeah, we're just gonna wait off till spring, and it'll be down, and hopefully everyone can enjoy some food. Yeah,
Tony, thank you for sharing your story. Working in the mental illness stuff, it's incredibly important to me. We brought it up many times in this program, so really appreciate you sharing your story. If anybody, if anybody's listening and wants to talk about these sorts of things, they can reach out to us through Salve the Athletics Network, and if they want to get in touch with Tony. Liv, too, both of you, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here today. Hope you have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you both sometime down the road, and I will be there for practice to get something from the food truck, for sure.
Thanks, guys.
All right, take it easy now. That's Tony Soli and Liv Pierce, assistant coaches with our women's basketball team. We're going to go now to the head coach of our women's ice hockey team, David Lund, patiently waiting while we're getting through Liv and Tony. David, how you doing?
Doing well. How you doing, guys?
Good. I wanted to ask quickly. Oh, I can hear you loud and clear.
Good. Sorry about that.
Quickly, first off the bat, how was Thanksgiving? How was things with the family?
Yeah, it was good. It was a little quieter than a normal year, but we made it work. Probably better cooking than I would have done previous years. So it all worked out. It all worked out.
Yeah, I talked with Coach Foster about this at the beginning. Everybody's kind of delving into the recruiting thing right now. How is that going? And for you, what's the first thing you look for in a recruit?
So recruiting's going well. It's a little bit different, obviously, than previous years. I would say a majority of it, 95%, is done remote, done via video. So it's definitely a little bit different, but not terribly different. Things that I look for in a recruit. That's a good question. So, can they skate and compete at this level? I think is the one of the biggest components of that. And how we see how we see them forecasting in the future. Where's their development now? Where has it been since last time we skated, or seen them skate in the months prior, and where can we see that going in the next month down the road, 2 months, and so on and so forth. I think those are some of the biggest things. This level is at this level you got to be able to skate and play at that pace. So I think that's one of the first and foremost, and then a lot of other attributes, positional wise, defensively, how do you handle plays? How do you make them come out of your own zone? Forward wise, or as a forward, what can you do in the offensive zone? What do you do with the puck? What do you do without the puck? So there's a lot of details that go into that. I don't think I can answer it in just one sentence, but yeah, there's a lot of components, I think.
What do you remember from your recruitment process?
Ooh, that was years ago. What do I remember? I think I was just so new to it that I didn't really understand the whole process. So I think that's one detail that I can take away from it is giving the recruiters as much information as I can. I have to assume that in a lot of respects, today's day and age, a lot of the kids and the parents and the advocates are very well informed of the process. For me personally, I think I was a little ignorant to the way of things were done and how it was done at this level. So just trying to be as transparent as I can is definitely a good step in accomplishing that.
Yeah. How much has the game of hockey changed or not changed from when you played to now?
The game of hockey, how has it changed? I think just the speed and the skill of which the kids have these days is just, is way better than what I've had. Having to play at that pace and execute moves that they do now that's the way the game has changed. The freedom to do so, the way the rules have been expanded to allow that skill to exist in that space and time is definitely a big advantage or a big variable that's evolved over time.
Yeah. Are there any of those rule changes or tweaks to the game that you like or dislike, or are there any that you'd want to see happen?
I think the game is at a good spot. Judging by its popularity and the corners that it's reached across the globe, just that attraction to the sport now. There are things that I would see, you change over time, evolve back, evolve forward. So who am I to say where the game should be? But I think it's in a good spot for sure. I was always one in favor of the physicalness and that sort of thing, that body contact. So I think the game has gotten a little bit away from that, but I think it's in a good spot in looking after the health and well-being of the player.
Yeah. The athletics department's Seahawks Take Flight campaign wrapped up on Tuesday with the Day of Giving. How did the fundraising effort go for your team?
From what I've seen, it went well. Historically speaking, I don't know. I'm not really one to speak on it because I just don't know. But I think it went well. We were able to raise a few dollars, and it'll be put to a good cause for sure.
Yeah. Last question, David. Have you able to catch any of the waves the last 2 weeks? I know Monday and Tuesday were quite big out there.
Yeah, I was actually able to dip in the water for a little bit on both of those days. Monday was a bit unruly. It was a bit kind of washed out and a little big, so not much in terms of direction. But the next day was a little cleaner. The winds were cooperating, so it was a fun little day. It was quick in the water for me with a lot going on, but just thankful I was able to pop my toes in.
Awesome. David, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for being patient, working through the technical difficulties and everything. But good to see you. Glad you're doing well, and we'll look forward to catching up with you again next week.
Well.
All right, take it easy now. That's David Lund, the head coach of our women's ice hockey team. We're going to take a very short break and be back with Mike Diffusco to wrap up today's programming. Don't go anywhere.
So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
We have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back when you can follow them.
You got to take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. I want to bring in one of our producers now, Mike Diffusco, to help wrap up today's programming. Mike, I always like to get your guys, when Joey's here as well, your thoughts on anything our guests had to say here today first.
I really liked. I mean, it's hard not to just like get a little emotional when you heard Tony talk about his background and everything. So that was just I think really good to hear, because it's true that talking about that sort of thing makes it easier for other people to now come out and talk about their own problems when they see someone like that. And it's just and you never know the type of people going through that sort of thing. So it's also important to just reach out and make sure you're always keep in touch with everyone, because I just taking a look at Tony. I had never met him in person. First time I saw him today, and I would think that's just a happy guy, and so you want to have guests. So just it's always important to check in on everyone, I think.
And the more people who talk about this, we say it again, the more people who talk about these things and share their stories, it just normalizes it. It makes it normal for people to talk about their feelings and things they're going through, and to remove that stigma. So yeah, really appreciated Tony coming on and his willingness to share his story. And I know he'd be willing more with anybody to ask him. So yeah, I agree with you there. That was really, really powerful stuff. What else do we have here to wrap up this week's programming? Another weekend. Like I said, the days are long, but the weeks are fast. Already Friday.
The weeks are fast, and just to wrap out the week, I thought I'd give everyone a hint of what we might be in for with the weather, since we've almost become a mini weather station here. So here's a little map of potential weather this weekend. How I said there was going to be snow overnight tonight into Saturday.
Oh wow!
So here's that little map. It's not quite as bad as it appears. So there's really only going to be I think not even an inch, like a ninth of an inch in Newport. But all around northern Rhode Island, they might get some more aggressive weather, 1 to 2 inches. But really in Mass is the only place that has to worry. So we should be good this weekend, but expect a little bit of snow tonight, maybe shifting into rain in the morning.
So would you say there's officially a milk and bread warning, though?
A milk and bread warning? I don't get the reference. Wait, what is that?
Oh, you don't know? I mean, everybody, hey, there's a storm coming. Gotta go get your milk and bread.
Okay. I get what you're saying. I had never seen. That's just a colloquialism I had never heard before. Now,
really?
Now, because at first I was like, wait. No, that makes complete sense now. Yeah, go get whatever you have to get, whether it's milk and bread or whatever you need, your coffee, get that, your K-Cups, bring them in, and make sure you're ready.
The milk, and it looks like the most of this snow, too, is in that middle part of Massachusetts, which everybody, forgets about. You just think, Boston, Worcester, Springfield. No, there's 100 miles of stuff in the middle of Massachusetts. People always forget about that middle part of Mass. So yeah, at least these weathermen and Mike Diffusco is putting his money on 0 inches of snow, which means we'll probably wake up and have a foot. That's usually how it goes.
I would love it. Honestly, I'm a fan of snow, so bring it on.
Awesome. Bring on the snow. All right. Well, Mike, great job this week. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch up with you again on Monday.
All right. Enjoy your weekend.
All right. That's Mike Diffusco, one of the producers here on Seahawk Talk. I want to thank all of our guests here today. We had Sean Foster, David Lunn, Tony Soli, and Liv Pierce. Thank you to them for joining us here on the program. We had another great week of Seahawk Talk. We'll be back on Monday. We are live every single day, Monday through Friday, on the Salve Athletics Network. That's through Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. You can like, follow, and subscribe to all of those platforms to never miss an episode. Watch any previous episode of the show, and you can also subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcasts from to never miss a show. Or take Seahawk Talk on the go. That'll do it for us here this week. I'm Andy Pizzelli. Hope you all have a wonderful and safe weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.